It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use AMP-Pace.
Pace.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The Ulike Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. Ulike.
Hey, it's Matt Mosley of The Matt Mosley Show. We want you to watch our show every day, 1 to 3 on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And you get to see big name guests like Gary Patterson, Art Briles, Scott Drew, Doug McNamee, major Cowboys insiders, ESPN legends like Sal Palantonio. When news breaks on Cowboys or Baylor or NFL, we want you to look here first. 1 to 3 weekdays, it's the Matt Mosley Show.
Come here. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Christy Hunt, everybody. The soon to be Sousa, right?
Yes, that I'm excited about.
What about the relations last night? Excited about that?
Stop it. We're
okay.
Live.
All right.
I know we're live.
I love you, Christy.
Family show, man.
It's a family show.
Yeah, right.
When are you? So you're going to the airport after this?
Yeah, my mom's on her way here, so we're gonna do that because we're at Terminal C.
Okay, no offense. We actually are live. Can you close the door?
Bye.
I love you.
Oh my God.
All right.
There's a cat in here.
All right. Cam Stewart. All right, I'm ready. We're ready. All right.
Yeah, we've been ready.
All right, let's go. Let me do a little. Let me do a little opening riff here. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics, Socorro Family Ford. As you can tell, I'm very happy to be back home. It's been a couple, man, I'll tell you, can I be honest? And we all I'm not digging ditches. I couldn't be happier to be doing this. But for the grace of God go I. Facts, facts, facts. At the same time, man, it's like 10 games in 8 days or whatever the hell. I haven't been at home. It's not brain surgery, but it's stressful. And so to sleep in my own bed last night, and to wake up this morning after some sleep, and honestly, next to the woman I love, I hadn't seen her in a while. It's been nice to be back home and sleep a little bit. And it's also nice to have a guest like Tom Tolbert joining us. NBA, Arizona, and the Tom Tolbert Show. I mean, there's a lot about this dude that makes him beyond qualified to join this show. And also, his Twitter avatar is Michael Myers. So we may be surprising Tom at the end of the interview. We're going to find out his Michael Myers intro. And also, I do ask him, when I look at games taking place, right? One of the big ones, I think that a lot of people are set for on Sunday afternoon, right? CBS knows what it's doing, would be not the Tulsa UNLV game that I'll be calling for NIT second round in Tulsa, Oklahoma at 6 Eastern, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. No, it will be St. John's, Kansas, right? If God willing, both of those teams advance. Depends on whose side God is on. Christy, you left your sunglasses in here. God damn it! Goodbye. At least I know when she's going to barge in here if I take control like that. And do you see, by the way, you got to be an alpha, guys. You got to be an alpha. I'm too sweet sometimes, you know? The old iron fist approach. Never hurt anybody. But no, that Sunday game, Kansas and St. John's, will be epic. And it will be even more epic if they get into the fact that Darren Peterson has a Michael Myers tattoo, which I whiffed on in the game that I had a chance to call. I totally flaked on it. But that is, that's a story that's not talked about enough. Maybe it's because he's not on the court enough. But a Michael Myers tattoo on a young man like that, you can't kill Michael Myers. And maybe you can't kill Darren Peterson. As my brother Michael likes to remind me, I love people that you can't kill, right? Especially like Michael Myers. NCAA Tournament tipping off today. First game, TCU and Ohio State. But last night, the big game, Miami of Ohio over SMU. A 6.5-point dog. And look, yesterday I felt like we did that show in a fog. I had an overtime game the night before, running on like 3 hours of sleep. We started it off with Avery Bradley and Thurl Bailey. Are you kidding me? Talking about how Texas beat NC State. That interview, by the way, is on the Pete Sousa Show YouTube page. And an amazing opportunity to talk to those two guys about what they're doing right now for the Jazz, but also March Madness. Obviously, Avery Bradley's affiliation with Texas and Thurl Bailey and NC State, and the Survive and Advance 83 Wolfpack with Jimmy V. Some great Jimmy V stories there in that interview that you can find on the YouTube page. But last night, man, Miami of Ohio and SMU, we talked about it on that show yesterday where, like I said, I was kind of in a fog, but I really felt like, and I'm not a coach, I'm just around a lot of people that know a lot about basketball, and I've watched a ton of basketball. You know, like that's the one cool thing about getting old is like I just have a collection of experiences and a totality that gives me a perspective where I could understand. And it's not like I picked the winner, but I knew that if Miami of Ohio was going to come out of the gate shooting threes and ultimately making some of those threes, you don't have to make all of them. That's the thing about the three shot, right? If you're 35, 36%, you're pretty good. If you're 40%, you're amazing. And last night they made 16 three-pointers. And I think Travis Steele at the shoot-around talked to, I guess it was Jordan, I forget the guy's last name, great play-by-play guy for CBS, and Jim Spanarkel. He mentioned to them, hey, we want to shoot 43s. And they had like 25 with like 5 minutes gone in the first half. And they made a lot of threes early. They got SMU on the ropes, and they got SMU into a half-court game in the second half. And now Miami of Ohio has advanced to the second round of the NCAA tournament or the first round of the NCAA tournament, right? My buddy, I was talking to my buddy Tony Hayden this morning, who played at Mount St. Mary's, and we were talking about our friend Sean Toohey. And Sean Toohey's a DC guy. He played hoops in college. He played at Lafayette, and then I think he transferred to like D3. But he was like, first four, that's not the tournament. Give me a break. I think it's the tournament. I mean, and I'll tell you something last night, too. It's so weird how these TV windows affect everything. Travis Steele's wife was on camera a lot, okay? As was Andy Enfield's. Andy Enfield's wife was a model. When he was, when they were the Dunk City squad at FAU or FIU, he was
FGCU.
FGCU, thank you. Florida Gulf Coast, yeah. She was still a working model, and everybody was like, no, this is a while ago. Everybody's like, whoa. Remember they beat Georgetown in the second round? And, she's still very attractive. And then they're showing her and Travis Steele's wife. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, if either of these women were, like, trying to make a push to get on Real Housewives or have their own reality show, like, the first four is a great place to make a splash because your Thursday night prime time, only game on television, right, at that point in time. I'm sure the numbers for last night's game were exceptional, and it beats being on Friday at 11 a.m., right? Like, so I was like, as TV windows, it's actually pretty good for these guys, and it was good for Miami of Ohio and for Travis Steele as far as brand recognition is concerned, and I do feel like they made a statement last night. And I do feel like they got everybody's attention. Now they play Tennessee in the first round in Philly, and that's going to be a tough road to hoe. But you go in hot, and the one thing about the first four that doesn't give you quite the juice that like maybe a conference tournament does, you go out and you play wonderful at Dayton. And now your first round game is at a brand new arena. You're switching venues. You don't get any leg up by playing earlier. Like in a conference tournament, if you play in, if let's say, Arizona gets a bye and Baylor wins in the day before, because they didn't get a bye, they go into that game lathered up and with an opportunity to get to the second round and get up early because they have a comfort level with the officials and all that stuff. And when I say officials, not the same ones, but the way the game's being called. But Miami of Ohio doesn't get that. But today we get March Madness starting up. And I do want to give you a little secret. We got Tyus Edney on tomorrow. And Tyus Edney, obviously of UCLA fame and NBA fame, played for Pitino for the Boston Celtics. But Tyus went to high school with Snoop Dogg and Cameron Diaz. And let's just say we might be talking with Tyus Edney about that, among other things, right? But Tyus was awesome. But last night, seeing March Madness start and seeing... Or it started the night before, but I was calling a game. So it was the first time I got a chance to like sit down on the couch and really take it in and watch. We talked yesterday about this young woman, Jenny Dell, and Cam and I went on a little bit about how good of a person she is. But last night, okay, if you're watching this game and you were up late, you know what I'm talking about. And if you want to go, if anybody that ever wants to be on air, I don't care if you're a man or a woman or something in between. Jenny Dell really set a standard last night as to how you approach a live interview with absolute like bedlam breaking out around you. She's interviewing Miami of Ohio, right? The guys aren't being smart with her or like fresh, but they're all talking at the same time. The one guy's really nervous. She owns the moment. Right, one of the guys' teammates from Miami of Ohio, because they're all crowded around, was piping in, trying to say something. She turns the mic on him. What are you trying to say? And he speaks up real quick. She owned the moment. It was so loud when they tossed to her from the studio. She was like, hey, I think you guys tossed to me. I can't hear. Now, that's a generic, like, sideline reporter line, like, or anybody on live TV. It's a good line. But then she just, like, if you noticed, there was a moment where things were totally chaotic. She took, and this is like a broadcasting thing we can all learn, and Visser and I have talked about this, right? Like, when you're on the air and you're talking fast, you're talking really fast. Like, and she was sped up a little bit by the scene, by everything. And she took what was probably 1 second to collect everything, which seemed like a pretty long time, but it was like perfect. She just like Okay. Miami of Ohio is going to the NCAA tournament, or has won a game in the tournament for the first time since 1999, Coach. When you hear that, what do you think? And then she just got into a great interview. And so it made me think, boy, I'm maybe not too bad at this. I'm 2 for 2. Miami beat that ass, and Jenny Dell is a home run on the air. And honestly, last night, I think Jenny Dell made herself a lot of money. That's a fact. Like, I really believe she now will, and we talked about how CBS is so interesting with the way that they do their college football. Unless you're on that, they have a handful of really big shows. She's on one of them now with the SEC. No, she's not. It's not the SEC anymore. It's their number one crew, which is like Big Ten. Yeah. Okay. And it's still a huge deal, but I would expect to see her in some more places, right? Which is pretty cool too, because she's not a spring chicken anymore. But I could see Jenny Dell becoming like the next Tracy Wolfson, right? Like that's an early prediction here, because Tracy would tell you, like, she's getting older. I mean, Tracy Wolfson, I think she's in her mid-50s, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, yeah, I think she probably doesn't want to do it forever. But so March Madness is here, and we're going to get a chance to see Jamie Dixon and TCU take on Ohio State in the first game of the day. I mean, that's literally coming up in like 45 minutes. And what I'll say here live right now is that TCU can win that game. They're a 2.5-point dog. But I have a feeling that they will be able to drag Ohio State into the mud, keep that game very close, right? And eke out a win, probably by like 2 or 3 points. Jamie Dixon is the type of coach that is made for March. Like, he is perfect for these games. If you look at his track record at TCU, so now we're talking body of work over the last 5-6 years in the NCAA tournament, they either make it to the second round or are a complete MFer in the first round before they get beat. And I think when they lost to Arizona, it's funny because we'll talk tomorrow to Tyus Edney about Ed O'Bannon and all that stuff. Scotty B, this is a great comment. Ed O'Bannon's kid was on a team that almost beat Arizona in the second round years ago. And Ed O'Bannon's kid had like 35 points or 28 points in the game. Ultimately, they lost. But that's the kind of team that Ohio State's going to be dealing with. So I really, really like TCU to start this thing out. I placed a couple mini wagers this morning. I long shot Texas to go to the Final Four. Super long shot. But I love teams like Texas and environments like this because they have the horses, like thoroughbreds. So at any point in time, if Texas gets hot, they're scary, dude. They're scary. So that
real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Weren't we talking the other day about BYU could get to the Sweet 16 precisely because they do have a couple of horses themselves?
Yes. Yeah. But I have them losing to Texas. Look, man, I'm just saying there's a lot of possibilities.
This guy hates the Big 12. That's all.
No, I love the Big 12. I try to be honest.
You think TCU can win? Did you pick TCU in the Pete Sousa bracket challenge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did I. So did I. Nothing against Nicole Sheeran.
Scotty B. That's pretty. Honestly, that's a miss on my part. Well, I should have had Sheeran on.
Yeah. Everything Ohio State. Nicole Sheeran's there, man.
Oh my God. Do you know she covers Ohio State?
I've heard it. I've seen.
Do you know that she knows Ryan? She knows Ryan Day.
Calls her Ryan.
She's been in his house talking to Nina Day. Dude, chuckle now. Sheeran, you're not going to be laughing when Sheeran's in Dallas.
I'm not laughing now, dude. Sheeran's at everything, man. Like, what a gig. What a gig. She did get Mosley in a tizzy once. Did you ever hear that story?
No, tell me real quick, and then we'll get to Tolbert.
Yeah, it was because I was saying, like, she kind of moved up, from Waco to Columbus, which isn't a huge move, but Ohio State's a big deal.
It's a pretty big move. Columbus, by the way, is marked at like 30. So it's a good move.
So it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So she was on the Mosley show when she took that job as kind of like a goodbye. And, he asked her about it. She was like, yeah, I'm so excited, Ohio State. So happy to like live my dream and cover major college football. And Mosley goes, well, I think we have some major college football here. in the Big 12. He almost took offense to it that her covering Baylor was not covering major college football.
How about Mosley had Dave? How about Mosley had Dave Aranda on yesterday at a live remote, and there were audio issues.
It's the worst nightmare of the people behind the scenes. I'll just say that. That's something.
Woo!
Yeah, Mosley has been dying to get in a room with Dave Aranda,
and he got him yesterday.
Yeah,
I heard Mike Hamilton is the man behind the curtain trying to save the audio. That's not. Let me tell you something. If you're in this business, being at Rogue Media for as long as I have been, Mike Hamilton opened the door to this whole thing for all of us. Mike Hamilton kept the lights on. Mike Hamilton is the hero of Rogue Media Network. Now, when you hear Mike Hamilton's name, it ain't good news. Okay? We'll tell you that right now.
Like a last resort.
It's a last resort.
Yeah. Mike's trying to back out.
Do you know Tom Tolbert? Okay, I want to say one thing. Now, Tom Tolbert not only had an illustrious career at Arizona and in the NBA, particularly with Golden State, but when we talk about, the NBA on NBC had this big throwback game, which was amazing. I watched a good portion of it. It sucked because it was a blowout. The Spurs just beat the lights out of the Sixers, beat the daylights out of them. But, Tom Tolbert was a huge part of that NBA on NBC run. Like when the NBA was cooking, right? Like Iverson, Shaq. And so a lot of people know Tolbert through that era and that run on television. And now he's doing it with the Tom Tolbert Show. Let me tell you the list of guests he had on this week. Tommy Lloyd, Steve Kerr, Jay Billis, Dan Wetzel. And guess what we get to do? We get to welcome Tom Tolbert right now to the Pete Sousa Show. Tom Tolbert, what's up, dude?
What's up, Pete? How are you?
Man, thank you so much for joining us. I've been circling you for a long time. You've been in my life for longer than you've been aware of. So I appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Well, that's a real shame. I hate to hear it.
So you ready? You ready for your Arizona Wildcats to make a run at this thing?
I am. I look. I'm always excited when the tourney rolls around, and hoping that this will be the year. What was it? 97, I think they won. So the first time since 97 they can hoist a trophy. And I'm always positive. This year maybe I'm a little too positive just because I've watched them play all year and the way they play and how defense and rebounding is kind of the backbone of this team. And I feel like I'm not going to tell you the bracket sets up well for them because I didn't follow college basketball that much. I know Wisconsin can flat out score. I know Arkansas is really good. That Acuff kid is really, really nice. So, you're going to have to win some games. You're going to have to get lucky a little bit here and there, but they got as good a chance as any.
When you hear that, right, 97, the last time a West Coast team won a championship in the NCAA, what do you have any idea why that is? Is that totally random, or is there a reason behind that? Like, do you have any thought process there?
Well, my thought process would be there was way more teams back in the East and in the Midwest. So I think it's a numbers thing. You think about the schools who have a chance to win a national championship out West, and it was, for a while, it was Arizona. I mean, UCLA ran them forever. And then UCLA got theirs, was that like 95, 93, somewhere around 95. There. Yeah. Okay. So UCLA got theirs. Arizona got theirs. Vegas was right there when they just absolutely hammered Duke. That was in the early 90s, 1991, right around there, I think. But, I mean, those were the three schools. If you were going to win out of the West Coast, one of those three schools was going to do it. Arizona's still giving themselves chances over the years. UCLA had a few there way back when Florida was winning back-to-back national championships. Vegas has fallen off. I mean, Vegas was, people that don't remember, Vegas was an absolute terror. That team under Jerry Tarkanian was incredible. I mean, the battles that them and Arizona had were epic. Like, people don't mention that as a great rivalry because it's really not anymore and hasn't been for quite some time. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, that Arizona UNLV rivalry was really as good as you could get across the nation. So, but I think it's probably just a numbers game. You look at all the teams that are East and how many teams are West that could actually win a championship. And now what is it? UCLA is not probably that school. UNLV certainly isn't that school. Like,
dude, I got UNLV Sunday night for ESPN in the NIT, so they're definitely not that school this year. Yeah, I got Tulsa UNLV. I mean, dude, it's Josh Pastner. They can bounce back soon, but yeah, they're not even anywhere near the consistency that Arizona has had, right? Throughout this whole thing.
Remember who they? I mean, people don't remember who they were, right? Under Jerry Tarkanian, this was a top 5 team nationally every single year. Can you imagine Jerry Tarkanian, the NIL era? I mean, he started the NIL era. He was the NIL era, but way back when. I mean, not just him, but I mean that team was awesome. That team that beat Duke by 30, the Larry Johnson-led team, Anderson Hunt. I mean, God, who else on that team? Greg Anthony,
George Ackles, Stacey Augmon. Yeah,
that team was awesome. Like, it was just an awesome.
They had that dude Moses Scurry coming off the bench. He was terrifying. Yeah,
Moses Scurry. I mean, who doesn't remember the greatest picture in the history of college athletics? UNLV sitting in the hot tub with, what was it, Larry the Fixer or whoever?
No, Richard the Fixer Perry.
That's who it was. Richard. That's the greatest picture ever. Just chilling in the hot tub. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. We're not doing that at Arizona. We're not chilling in the hot tub at Arizona.
When you think about, you talked to Tommy earlier this week, Tommy Lloyd, and I think one of the things that he made a decision early on in his tenure in the Big 12 that he was going to make a team that could compete with Houston. Like that was the kind of team, and you talked about it off the top, like, dude, the physicality, the rebounding, the ability to play inside really separates them. When you're on a team like that, because you've been on both kinds of teams, when you have a team that the 3 ball is really going to be important for you, and you've got to make threes to win, as opposed to you've got a team like Arizona has this year where we can beat the shit out of somebody inside. And body blow. How much more confidence do you have when you've got that kind of team that Arizona has this year?
Well, I think you can always rely on that. Like, 3-pointers come and go. The funny part about it is they were aiming for Houston to be that type of team. They're more Houston than Houston is this year. Houston's more, I don't know what Houston is this year. They're really good, but they're more of a skilled basketball team. They're not the junkyard dog teams you remember from like 3 or 4 years ago, Houston. That's kind of who Arizona is this year, but they mix it up. It's not just, hey, our best offense is throw it up off the glass, go get it, and we'll score that way, and then we'll just beat the shit out of you on the defensive end. They can mix it up a little bit, but they don't rely on threes. It's not that they don't shoot them well. They shoot them fine. They just only shoot 17, 18, 19 a game. Like, that's not the way basketball is played anymore. It's played beyond the arc. I tell people basketball used to be played inside out. Now it's outside in. That's just the way it is. But you look at the schools this year who have a chance to win a national championship. Florida is massive. Arizona is massive. Even Duke. I mean, Cameron Boozer. I mean, they got some big dudes on their team too. Michigan, I haven't watched quite as much, but apparently size is back now in the NCAAs because these teams are big. And Arizona just says, look, we're going to beat the shit out of you. We're going to hit the glass. I mean, they got maybe the best rebounder in college basketball, and Toby Awaka doesn't even start. That guy's a rebounder with sneakers. That's all he is. He's a rebound in human form. He's awesome to watch. Then the freshmen, they got a really nice mix, but it's an interesting year. It's been probably the most fun year I've had watching college basketball in a while because I was out there for about 3 or 4 years. I'm like, God, I go down to the park and watch this. I don't need to watch that. I don't need to spend 2 hours on my team. But this year, I think the NIL has helped. It's kept people in that don't need to come out, fall through the cracks. It's been a fun year to watch. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But the NCAA tournament's always unpredictable, right? One bad bounce, one bad call, one bad shooting performance, and poof, you're out.
Yeah, it's a gift and the curse of the one and done. When you talk with Tommy Lloyd, for a guy that played for a legend like Lute Olson, what is it that grabbed you about Tommy that makes you feel like, man, my program is in good hands? Like, what's special about him to you?
Yeah, I love Tommy. I mean, I just love the way he coaches. I love the way he gives his players confidence. There are some times early on when he took over, and I text him occasionally. I told him this. I said, look, you inherited me. You're just gonna have to deal with me, okay? I came part of the package. You probably didn't look into the fine print. That's part of the fine print. You're gonna have to deal with some of the older guys. So I text him every now and again. And the first year, like the offense, those guys were wild. They like did some stuff. I'm like, geez, like Lou would be rolling over right now. Like, what are we doing? Let's get 4 or 5 passes. Let's move. Let's cut. Like those guys were just going. But he told me, he goes, I give these guys a lot of freedom offensively, but they got to earn it defensively. They got to earn it rebounding. They got to earn it with their trust on the defensive end. They got to rotate when they're supposed to rotate. But offensively, I'm gonna give them a little rope. I'm gonna let them go out there and kind of do their thing. So this year is maybe a little bit different because they're so big and they try to get the ball inside and move it that way. So I don't know if they're quite as free-flowing offensively, but I know that's what he likes. That's the style he likes. He likes big, but he also likes to go and push the pace. But that's the one thing that jumped out to me about Tommy early on was like he's going to – if you're out there, he wants you to play with confidence. He doesn't want you looking over your shoulder and wondering, God, am I coming out now for that mistake? Am I – like you rarely see him get upset at an offensive play. Like because he lets him play. Now defensively, he may get on him a little bit, and that's kind of the yin and the yang. Like I'll give you this, but you better give me this. So I just appreciate that. I appreciate that about him, that he lets the guys go play. I played for Don Nelson with the Warriors in the NBA, and he was very similar in that he would let us go. He would just let us play, but there are certain things that were like non-negotiable, like you better run. You better try to get on the glass, even though we were small. You better bust your ass. But offensively, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys play. As opposed to a guy like Matty Gukas, who I played with in Orlando, I don't think we ever scrimmaged in practice. I think it was all controlled scrimmages. Here's the play we're going to run. Get it off the glass, run one way, and then stop. And then we'd do it again. And then we'd do it again. Of course, we had Shaq, so there's probably a good reason for that. But the point is, like, you like coaches that, like, say, hey, I trust you. Go play. Go play. I don't have to control everything. I don't have to be that guy. I always think of, like, the guy that I couldn't have played for, I don't think. He could be a super nice guy, but Ben Braun for UCLA. Like, I'm like, Jesus, sit down. Just occasionally. Yeah. Take a breath. Sit down.
You mean Mick Cronin?
Mick Cronin, Tom Thibodeau. For the Knicks is a guy like that. No, I meant Ben Cronin's that way too, but Ben Braun.
Gotcha.
Ben Braun's like fucking trapping guys in the corner. I'm like, bro, you're not on the team, okay? Let the players trap the guys in the corner. Like, just go take a breath. But yeah, Thibodeau was that way too with the Knicks and the T-Wolves. I asked an assistant one time, I go, how come he never sits down? He says he doesn't have a seat. He knows he's not going to sit down. He doesn't have a seat. I'm like, he doesn't have a seat. What do you? When we get the leg cramp, we just like walk it off on the sideline. So, but for me, and this is just for me, I like coaches who give you the trust and let you play until you don't earn it. Like if you abuse that trust and hey, like I can't trust you anymore. Now I'm going to be a little more hands-on and you might have to come out of the game and we'll have a talking to. But while I'm on the court, let me just play. Let me play. I don't want to look over my shoulder. I don't want to wonder if that's a bad. I know when I've done something shitty. I know when I've done something regrettable on the court. Like I get it most of the time. I don't need you telling me. It makes it worse. And I think that's the one thing about Tommy that I love the most is that he lets his guys go out there and play.
What about Lute? What kind of tools did he provide you with, especially around March? To succeed? Like what is notable about that people really wouldn't know unless you're in a locker room with a legend like that?
Well, I mean, Lou was as prepared as any coach I've ever played for. Like we knew what the other team was going to run before they ran it. And look, Lou, it's a different era now. So Lou was not your friend. Lou was your coach. You didn't go into Lute's office to bullshit and just say, hey, what's going on today? Hey, do you think no? You came in there for a reason. You ask a question, you get your answer, and you move on. And I mean, I love Lute. Our relationship was much better after I left Arizona because now we could be friends, right? We could be peers. We were not like, but that's not the way he operated. And I appreciated that. Like, I don't know that you're 18, 19-year-old, you need a coach to be your friend. And I think that happens probably far too often today because you're trying to keep your athletes at home. You've already recruited them. Now you don't want them leaving to go somewhere else in the portal. So they're going to be your buddy. Like, hey, look, everybody wants a buddy. And who doesn't love a buddy? And it's easier that way. But I think what's best for young kids is, like, you got to have a parent. You got to have somebody that's willing to be the bad guy occasionally. And Lou was, look, trust me, I know this more than anybody else on that team, that Lou was willing to be the bad guy. And I was a recipient of most of that. And while I didn't like it at the time, it definitely helped me throughout the course of my NBA career. But you just trusted Lou. Like, you just knew, like, you saw him on the sideline. You're like, yeah, we're not getting out coached. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to get his point across. Interesting thing about Lou that many people may not know: he did not curse at all. And in sports, that's almost impossible not to curse. Like, everybody curses in sports, even if they don't curse outside of sports. Like, in a practice setting, like, you just curse. Everybody does. Not Lou. Not Lou. Lou is always a gentleman, man. Always a gentleman. Although I'm pretty sure, I'm not pretty sure, I'm 100% sure that he cursed one time. Me and Steve Kerr heard him, and he denied it. He never owned up to it. Never. It was when we were playing Duke in the Fiesta Bowl class. But Lou was not self-conscious, but conscious of his image.
Yeah.
He just no.
How did a young Tom Tolbert push the envelope with Lute Olson a little bit?
I probably thought I was working harder than I was. I thought I was running harder than I was. When you're look, everybody's the best pretty much in high school that goes on to play that level of college basketball. You're the best on your team, maybe even the best in your area. And then it just so got you make it to the NBA. You're probably one of the best on your college team, if not the best, blah, 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 blah. So you always think you're working harder than you are. I wasn't working that hard. I wasn't running that hard. Defensively, I wasn't that good. Rebounding, I wasn't as good as I ended up being. In fact, I was a better rebounder, I think, in the pros than I was in college. But I think that drove Luke crazy because he saw that there was more there, and I wasn't giving everything I had to give, even though I thought I was. So that was his charge, was to get everything out of me. And going back to what I said earlier, I didn't appreciate it all the time at the time. Now I do appreciate it. I'm glad he pushed me as hard as he pushed me. But he tells his story, or his wife, his late wife Bobby, told the story. He came home one day. Maybe it was Luke that told the story to Banquet or something. So he came home to one day and he was talking to Bobby. And he said, you know what, something was different about practice today. And this was midway through my senior year. And he goes, like, I don't know what it was. What was it about? Oh, he goes, I didn't have to yell at Tom today. He goes, that was that. He goes, that was maybe the first time in a year and a half I've had to yell at him today. So it was pretty funny. It was a lot funnier after I left Arizona than because I know I would have said, Lute, I know, like, I know you yelled at me every single day for you. I got it. Like every day I'd go home from practice thinking, God, this guy hates me. He just, but that's the one thing I try to impart to young kids that play. Look, if the coach is getting on you, they don't hate you. They love you. They want to see more from you. They want to push you. They know there's more there, and they're going to try to get it out of you. And you may not love the way they try to get it out of you, but appreciate the fact they are trying to get it out of you. It's almost like the movie, one of my favorite movies, Whiplash.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know a lot of people hate that movie because it's like, God, he's so harsh. He's just like, and I laughed during those scenes. Because I've been there. I've been on the receiving end of those. I know what those feel like. And people that don't get it, people that weren't in practice, people that have never played or done anything at a super high level and have somebody expect something of you, you just don't get it. You think it's just mean. And there's a certain aspect of that. But the underlying aspect is J.K. Simmons is trying to get the best out of his student. He's going to push him. He's going to make him hate him, but he's going to try to get the best out of him. And I guarantee you, he might not have appreciated then, but after you leave, you get where you're going. Some people can't handle it. Some people break. I was built to handle that kind of thing. I mean, I had a coach at Irvine, Bill Mulligan, who was as fiery as they come. And he put words together that I'd never heard before when he yelled. Like I did. Now I'm not endorsing using this. I'm not using this phrase in any walk of life, but I only say it to tell you some of the stuff that he would say to me when I was a freshman. He used to call me a cancerous cunt. Now, if you could find something like 2 words to put together that are worse than that, feel free. Go ahead. Especially in today's age. Maybe back when I was a freshman and 84, 83, 84, maybe you could, but my biggest problem was, and this says probably too much about me, is like I had to stifle laughter. I was like, fucking wow, that was like amazing. Like I can't believe he put those 2 words together. Like he just guys. But laughing would have been like just more lines for me. And I'm like, I don't need the hassle. So, but like he would, like his head was red. It would like almost pop off. Like that's how mad he was at me. But I always had the ability to like kind of take the negative and mostly let it go and try to find the positive and why they're yelling at me and what they're trying to impart. But I always felt like, okay, I need to do more. What do I need to do? Now, sometimes I couldn't figure it out and it frustrated me. Like, what? God damn it! Why? I'm running as hard as I can. I'm doing this. I'm hitting the glass. I'm rotating. I do everything I should be doing, and that's why the Whiplash movie resonates with me, because I know, what was it? Miles Teller, I believe, was the drummer. Yeah, I think he was probably trying to figure out the same stuff. Like, what? Why? What? I'm giving you what you want. How come? And you're still throwing?
Because there's more in there. Because there's more in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And
and that's what Lute saw in me, and that's what I appreciated with him. So that's why that movie resonates so much with me, because that was a little bit of my kind of journey, so to speak. In that you're always you're trying. You're like, well, what do they want? What do they want? Why are they always on my ass? Well, always. Not Steve Kerr. Not Sean Elliott. Not Craig McMillan, not Jed Bushler, not Anthony, nobody. Like me, all the time. And sometimes you just get sick of it and you're like, God dang. But at the end of the day, you realize like it's for a reason. And look, again, I love Lute. And we had a great relationship after I left Arizona. And it wasn't bad while I was there. It was just sometimes it was frustrating for me. But
it was player coach.
I loved him. Yeah,
it was player coach. I mean, and that's for me too, like, old school football play. Even now, like when I get yelled at or taken to task in a certain way, it's almost like a love language. I don't know. It's weirdly comforting in a sick way. Let me ask you about your TV career, because I think that to me was fascinating. You have a great pro career, 7 years, right? And I don't think people expected it to be that long. And then you get into TV.
I don't think my mom did.
And then you get into TV, dude. And you're like a star on, and again, like NBA on NBC at a time when the NBA is really in a special place.
Yeah.
What was that environment like? The dynamic there were you comfortable there? Was it hard to do? Like, because you were in the studio a lot, and those shows are tough because you don't get a ton of time to talk. You're a talker. You got a lot of great points. Like, how did you find that way of life?
And then it was really cool. When I ended my career, I went pretty much within a year. I was doing radio at KNBR in the Bay Area. I was doing some local like sports, like I guess now it'd be NBC Sports Bay Area. Back then, I don't even know what the hell it was called, but just some local stuff to see if that's what I wanted to do. I've been on the Jim Rome show a few times. I knew Jim, and I knew entertaining people was the way I wanted to go. And I love talking sports. I followed sports since I was, 6, 7 years old. I had a pretty good knowledge base. And I was like, where the hell else am I going to use this stuff? Like no one else wants to hear this crap that I'm spewing, but sports talk could be a way to go where I get to talk sports, stay involved in sports, and make people laugh and entertain people. So what happened was, and I forget exactly how the NBC thing came about, because I was doing Fox Sports 1. I was doing the weekends for them, like the weekend update. It was like Jeannie Zelasco and Van Wright and Keith Oberman was at Fox at the time. I mean, a good group of people. So I'd go down there on Fridays, do the radio show they had a studio for me, and then do the news Friday, a sports show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back on Sunday. So I did that for a while. And then I'm not sure. I can't even remember what happened on this, but it was about the time of 9/11. And I remember this distinctly because NBC wanted to fly me back out there to New York for a try, like I guess a tryout. They just wanted to put me in front of a TV screen in a studio by myself, just talking the game. And I think it was, I think it might have been Sixers Lakers from the year before the finals.
Okay.
And I don't even think I had a play-by-play guy. I was just like talking about what was going on during the game and this and that and this and that. And it was funny because I think one of the lines they liked was when they showed Allen Iverson, and I think one of his tattoos was like Chinese characters. And I was like, do you think he even knows what that means? I'm not even sure if he knows what that means. So I was just riffing. It was like I was doing my own sports show, like with a screen in front of me. But I remember it was 9/11 because I remember flying in and the city was still smoking. And it was the eeriest descent that I will ever have is flying into New York probably a month, maybe not even a month after 9/11, because I remember the playoffs were there and I think the A's were there. I think it was the A's-Yankees game.
And it makes sense because this is probably right before the basketball season. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I flew in there. It all went well, and I was going to call games. And the first game I called was Milwaukee, New York, and I did it with Mike Breen. So Mike Breen was my first partner, NBC, and it was like a triple overtime game, amazing game. I remember it was like Glenn Big Dog Robinson. I think Michael Redd, Latrell Sprewell was on the Knicks at the time. Just a great game. And Mike, I love Mike. Mike's one of the best there is, and just such a great, great guy. Like I miss. Like I wish I would have had more time to work with him. But first, great show. We had a great show. You know, Dick Ebersol's like I call him the truck, saying they did a great job. Blah blah blah. Wow. So now it's like, okay, this is gonna be cool. I'll be work with Mike, and I can't wait. This is like kind of my first taste of doing NBA games, and now. Jason Williams, that's when Jason Williams killed as a limo driver.
Yes.
Remember correctly?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was a studio guy.
No.
Yep. He was a studio guy.
Wow.
And then I guess apparently there's some clause in the contract that if you allegedly kill your limo driver that you can't do the studio show anymore. I think. I didn't read the contract, but I'm sure it's probably in there. So then they said, well, we want you to do the studio. So I did. I'm like, okay. Like, I think even if I would have said, hey, I'd rather not, I'd rather still do the games. I think I was doing the studio show regardless. So I ended up doing the studio show, and it was me and who was it? Pat Croce, the owner of the Sixers.
Yes.
Fratello
was
doing the studio. We had some other guys, and then Ahmad Rashad was doing the studio. And it's so funny when you're to start the show, you're talking about, you know, the studio show is tricky because how much do you talk? How much do you not talk? How do you fit in? Because these guys had been going. So I'm just dropped in the middle of the season, just like boom in the studio show. So I was wondering the same thing myself, because I can get going a little bit and talk a little bit too much in studio show. Yeah, everybody wants to get their turn. So it's like, okay, let me keep it tight. You get your turn, you get your turn, you get your turn, you get your turn. And I remember one of the funniest things was, I don't know what we were talking about, but I probably got going on and on and on and talking and probably went a little bit too long and cut into the other guy's time. And I remember at the end of the show, Fratello came up to me. And I like Mike. I've only worked with him a few times, a nice guy. He comes up to me and goes, hey, Tommy, you really need to keep it shorter, you know, so the rest of us can, you know, we need to get in there and make our points and this and that. And I go, my bad, Mike. I just, you know, sometimes I lose track of time, and I'm just going to go and talk and try to get my point out there, but I'll try to be a little bit tighter next time. So I forget later on that day, or maybe even the following week, I kind of relayed the story to Ahmad Rashad, not in that way, not like hey, Mike wants me to tighten up. It was more like, hey, you know, I know I need to tighten up. You know, I know I'm probably getting a little bit long. You know, everybody else needs to make their points and stuff like that, and I'll do a better job of that. I've only been doing this for a couple weeks. And Ahmad looks at me and goes, when I want you to shut up, I'll tell you to fucking shut up. He goes, you keep going and doing what you're doing. And so I was like, all right. I go, hey, if you're the host, so I'll just keep
The
going.
smoothest, coolest guy on the planet just told me that I got the green light. I'm good.
Okay, those guys can do what they want then. My mod told me just keep going, so I'm gonna keep going. But but it was really, I mean, all those guys are really fun. But the studio show is different, and I liked the format in that we got to talk hoops and got to talk different stuff. I didn't like the fact that it was so condensed and it's hard to make your point in like 10, 15 seconds. And it was really, I think I got to the point where I was kind of fed up with the studio show when I was working at ESPN and they wanted to talk about the midseason MVP. And I was talking to producers and I told the producers, I go, when's the last time in the history of fucking basketball they gave an MVP in the middle of the season? I go, why the fuck are we talking about this shit? I go, no, there's stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the midseason MVP and midseason defensive player of the year. I go, I'll tell you what, you find a year other than a strike year where they gave out those awards midseason, then I go, I think we should talk about it. But if not, why are we wasting time talking about this shit? And people used to be interested in that stuff. I mean, it's amazing what we call it click today. What people click on today, it really horrifies me. It's like, Jesus Christ, we're fucking interested in this shit? Like, what's wrong with you people? But I think that's the type of stuff they're interested in. They want to know, what about the trades? Like, that'll never happen.
That'll never happen. Yeah, let's talk about those.
So that I thought we could do more with this. And I don't think the NBA was like super happy. And look, I'm not Charles Barkley. I can't just get away with what I wanted to get away with and talk about what I want to talk about with and make fun of the NBA if I want to a little bit because of the name. And like Charles is great. He's one of the best ever. But I remember a show we did where it was the Nets and the Pistons. And I think the Pistons held the Nets. No, the Pistons held teams to below 70 points back in the dark ages of the NBA. Where teams would actually score 69 points. Like, oh, good Lord. So I think it was like 5-6 games in a row. The Pistons had held their opponents to under 70, which was like a record. And I think it was Aaron Williams for the Nets, if I'm not mistaken. So the Nets had 69, and they scored one more bucket to get to 71, and then pumped their fists. Meanwhile, the Pistons had like 97. They're getting beat by 26 points, but they were pumped that Detroit couldn't hold them to under 70 points. And I thought, why are you drawing more attention to yourself? Like, why are you making this a big deal? You just got blasted by over 20 at home, and you're happy that you got 71, that you stopped Detroit's streak of holding teams under 70 points. So we got to show this. So we showed the highlights and everything, and then came back, and I had them drop confetti on me. I was like, woo, yeah, we got 71. We got 71. Like, that's the kind of stuff I thought was fun, like during the course of a monotonous NBA season, like that kind of stuff. But you're making fun of the Nets. And I was like, I made the point there that they should be made fun of. Because they're celebrating scoring 70. So that's the kind of stuff I wanted to do. I wanted to do stuff that was a little out of the ordinary.
Little edgy.
Yeah, exactly. A little edgy, a little whatever, but have some fun with it instead of talking about who do we think the midseason MVP is? Who gives a shit? Anyway, like I said, I can get going like I just did for about 15 minutes.
Dude, I love it. 2 more questions for you. One, was my boy Matt Muehlbach, how good of a shooter was he?
Matt was the best. I love Matt. Matt was a fantastic shooter, better leader.
Yeah.
Matt had a little bit of what Steve Kerr had. Like, he could lead, and I could even tell that when he was a freshman, because I was a senior when he was a freshman, so he didn't get a chance to play a whole lot. He was a member of the Gumby crew. That was like him, Harvey Mason, Judd Bushler a little bit, although Judd played, Bruce Frazier, my guy Craig Bergman, one of my best friends who was on that team. He was actually a football player, got a football scholarship, and we lost a bunch of players. So he came over and played with us and got a chance to hang out and play with his high school teammate, Craig McMillan. They played at Cloverdale together. Anyway, no one cares about that. But no, Muehlbach was that whole crew I love that whole crew. Like, we're the ones that started it. We're the ones that started
the guys having fun on the bench, being enthusiastic. Yeah.
And what Arizona is today. Would you think of Arizona as a kind of a quasi blue blood program? Like, they don't go as far back as probably, North Carolina and Kentucky and UCLA and all those true blue bloods, but they're right there. Like, they started when we started. Like, that program existed basically in the form it is today back in 88. That's where this whole thing started, and we feel an immense amount of pride in the program. But Matt was part of it, and he went on to have a fantastic career. Him and Matt Othick were, those two guys were tearing it up in the desert. But
he's still a great leader. I call some games with him for NBC, and there was one guy. He legit makes me a lot better. Like, there's just something special about that guy. It's hard to. Great. Yeah. All right, one more for you.
It's hard to quantify leadership sometimes.
Yeah.
You know it. I know it. I was around Steve Kerr. I knew Steve was be a head coach. My whole career, I knew he would be a head coach. Just some guys have it. Some guys are leaders. Some guys aren't. And Steve Kerr was. Matt Muehlbach definitely is.
All right, you got the avatar, the Michael Myers head, dude. This is.
Oh, you got one of those?
This is my guy, dude.
Thing is so great. I love that thing. Now, the only problem with that is if you leave it laying out and it gets dark and your wife runs across it and scares the shit out of her, she's not super happy with you. So,
and if the police pull you over and it's in your car, you're definitely getting questioned.
Oh, are you kidding me? But that is an all-time classic mask. Like
and that's my guy,
so
Michael Myers.
Had it.
Yeah,
I had the mask many years ago, and I actually threw it away because I left it laying around the house and it scared my wife, and she's like, either put this up or throw it away. So finally, I think I scared her one last time and didn't mean to. She'd just walk in the closet, and I had it in the closet, and she'd look at it, and it's kind of dark and shadowy, and she'd then go, all I'd hear is and I'd go, oh shit, I didn't put the mask away. So I threw it away, but then like 15 years later, I'm like, fuck, I need another mask. I go, come on, what's a household without a Mike Myers mask? You kidding me?
What?
So I got another one.
in 30 seconds, why is Michael Myers the best horror guy? Because he is to me.
Oh, absolutely. Because look, he's not fast. He does all he has is a knife in his hands. But you can't fucking outrun the guy. Like, you think you outright. Like, he's always. Let me put it to you in sports terms. He's always in the right position. He's always the right rotation. Like, he knows where you're fucking going. You're running. You think you got like a half a mile between him. You turn the hedges and fucking boom, there's Mike Myers. Like, how did he know I was going to be right here? And then when he gets his hands on you, it's too late. The one piece of tire, the mask, the knife. Dude's a legend. Absolute legend.
Tom Tolbert, you are a legend. People should check out the Tom Tolbert Show. Yo, man, I can't thank you enough. This was beyond what I expected, and I really enjoyed it, man.
Hey, enjoy the tourney, Pete.
Thanks, man. Take care, Tom.
All right, brother.
Tom Tolbert, the Tom Tolbert Show. You got to check it out. That guy, legit. It's so cool as like the world gets smaller almost, like getting to know Muehlbach, and he talks so highly of Tom, and then getting to interview Tom and having watched Tom play in college, play in the NBA, on TV. It's cool to see that come through talking with him. He's just as cool as I thought he was. So appreciate Tom taking the time. We will take a quick break. Actually, Cam, let's do the reads right now, and we can get out of here. Is that cool? All right, Lake Waco Golf Club. Check it out, folks. 18 holes, executive course. 18-hole par 3 executive course. You got to go, literally, you've got to go. Like people are going to be watching Cam Boozer today. Our own Cam can be a boozer, and he does that at the restaurant there. Okay? A great place to go. Go to the Pro Shop, Lake Waco Golf Club, and you could also be a member. So make sure you check that out. Also, if you notice today, we're not having lighting problems. Okay? Why? Bumblebee blinds. That's why. Bumblebee Blinds is all throughout Central Texas. Go to bumblebeeblinds.com. You can actually have them come out for a quick consultation. They'll tell you what you need. Blackout shades, if you got to get some sleep. You're trying to do some good things that make the place look great. Check it out. They've covered. bumblebeeblinds.com. We will be back tomorrow with Tyus Edney to talking about the NCAA tournament and UCLA's chances. We got Arizona covered now. Tom Tolbert, that was amazing. Go to our page, the Pete Sousa Show page, like, subscribe, check out the videos, or I'll do like what Jim Rome says. Like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Okay, I heard Rome say that once. I couldn't believe it. It would mean a lot to me. If it means a lot to Jim Rome, it means a ton for me. I need as much help as I can get. But yeah, thanks Tolbert. Thanks Chris Visser. Thanks Cam Stewart. I'm headed over to the PGA of America here in Frisco to tape Inside the 12. 2 more shows left. Myself, King McClure. King's got to be tired, man. He did the first 4 for Westwood One Radio on Tuesday and Wednesday. So, I mean, I haven't heard from him, but I expect he'll be there. He's always there. And we're doing it with this other, this young woman, Austin Ivan, who's a hooper at Oklahoma State. She's really good. Cam, anything?
I really respected the wordplay that you had in there about me.
Cam Boozer.
Cam Boozer.
Hey, did you get drunk yesterday?
No, I didn't.
St. Patty's Day.
That was
Tuesday. Did you get drunk on Tuesday?
On Sunday.
Okay.
Which is when we do it. I'm not a big weeknight drinker guy, but I was just gonna say I love the wordplay there. And notice you never do like how bright Cam's future is. He needs Bumblebee blinds. You just use the Boozer stuff. But I'll take.
I mean, it's too easy.
I'll take what I can get.
Beef. What about my favorite one? Is when you have Scotty Swingler on talking about Jerome Tang taking Nicky Collins' job. That's when I call you Beef Stew. Beef Stew, dude. He's always got it going. Check out Locked On Baylor for some more Beef Stew. All right, Cam, we'll do it again tomorrow.
I think that's a plan.
All right, that is the plan. We will see you guys in, what did Mike Greenberg used to say? I can't even do math. I think it's 23 and a half hours, something like that. We'll see you. No. That's not right. 20, whatever. We'll see you tomorrow.
By the way, all of that was wrong. They used to say that. They said that at the end of PTI.
Yeah.
Taking a 23 and a half hour break.
Yeah. How cool is Tolbert?
That was unbelievable. It was a couple of things in there that I just lost it behind the scenes.
Can we do the Jason Williams for a short? I think we got to do that.
That was one of the things. Yeah.
Right,
I like some of the things that Lute called him.
Oh,
you put any 2 worse words together.
That wasn't Lute. That was his high school coach in Irvine. Yeah.
And he's like Lute. Lute
didn't swear.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Of say that. Yeah. Kind of a similar the coach player thing.
I knew he was going to say whiplash, by the way. I knew it. That's like I've heard that from a few athletes.
Why your name's on the show.
Yeah. What's that?
That's why your name's on the show, baby.
By the way, I didn't want to say this I was like, wow, are you going for the J.K. Simmons role? Because you might have it. And I didn't want to, he was so elaborate with his answers and so detailed. I did want to ask him about his health, but he seems like he's doing great. I know he had a big heart thing a couple years ago, but so Tom Tolbert, the freaking man. Seriously, what's the Tom Tolbert show? Check it out, especially Arizona fans, Big 12 people to check this out. All right, we're out of here. See you tomorrow.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Sports.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.